So hey guys, welcome to another video, and today I just want to sit down and talk about tanking and how in every single MMO game that I've ever played, whether it be Rift, Ion, Guild Wars, TERA, WoW, there was always a shortage of tanks. And it's kind of understandable because, well, most people want to play a damage class. Right, they want to see big numbers, they want to kill things really fast, but some people want to play a supportive role, so they play a healer or something like a bard in Rift, so they are a full-on support class with buffs and stuff, and very few people end up tanking. And there are two main reasons, in my opinion, why people are scared of tanking. The first one is responsibility. Alright, you are in charge. If you move somewhere, everyone else has to adjust. And if you screw up, it has big consequences. Because if you screw up as a DPS, well, the boss might die slightly slower. Big deal. If you screw up as a healer, someone might die. Alright, so that's kind of scary. But if you screw up as a tank, you are gonna die, and everyone else is gonna follow you because you are the tank. So if you screw up, everyone else is gonna die, and you might feel like, oh shit, I'm wasting everyone else's time, and this is horrible. But, you know, you will get the hang of it eventually. Alright, unfortunately, people don't have the environment that I had when I started tanking 10 years ago in World of Warcraft, which was, it was me and 4 friends. I was the tank. One of my friends was a healer, and we had 3 DPS. Of course, we had no idea what these roles mean, but when we eventually started doing dungeons, we were just fucking up and dying all the time, over and over and over again. I wasn't tanking properly, the healer wasn't healing properly, the DPS were ninja pulling, and we were dying and dying and dying. But the important thing there was that we were fucking up together, and we eventually figured it out. So when we started doing pugs and we stopped playing together all the time, we knew what we were doing at that point. But unfortunately, very few people have this kind of environment where they can learn how to tank. And if they screw up, it doesn't matter because you and your friends can laugh about it. So most people are left with pugs. And learning how to tank in a pug is terrible. You're not going to have a great time unless you find a very nice group of people. But 90% of the time, if you're trying to learn how to tank and you are doing it in a pug, it's gonna end up in a shitstorm. So how the hell am I supposed to learn how to tank, you might ask? Well, tanks are about 3 things, essentially. Thing number 1 is hold aggro. Generate as much threat as you can on a single target or on multiple targets. Very simple. Thing number 2, learn how to not die. And you might think, well, duh, dumbass. But here's the thing. Thing number 1 and 2, which is hold aggro and don't die, you can learn those things on your own. You don't need to do a dungeon. Alright? And without those 2 things, you can't do thing number 3, which is 95% of tanking. Alright? So go into the world. Just try to survive against a pack of elite for as long as possible. Try to pop cooldowns and or dodge or block. In case of TERA, just try to block in the right time. And maybe just pick up a random dude that's running around and be like, look, dude, there is a thing. Go balls to the wall. Do as much damage as possible. And I will try to generate as much threat as possible. And I will try to hold aggro through that, alright? Deal, deal. So learn those 2 things. Get them into your muscle memory. So you can just watch what's happening on the screen. You don't really have to think about it. And you can hold aggro and survive. Once you can do that, you can start with thing number 3, which is the encounters. And that's 95% of tanking. And as I've said, you can't learn the encounters when you're either dying or not holding aggro. It's impossible. Okay, so you get into a dungeon or a raid, and what I do is the first pull, I always try to watch as many things as possible so I can see what the encounter requires from me. Do I have to press buttons over here or over there? Do I have to press a better button over here? Should I move this over there so it's easier to AoE for the DPS? Or should I move over here because I'm moving out of the range of the healer? That's the main bulk of tanking. So you will go through these situations and hopefully you will learn from your mistakes and you will figure out how to deal with those situations. And eventually, if you do enough tanking with enough variety, you will stumble upon a similar situation and you already have knowledge on how to deal with it. And that's how you will learn how to tank, because you will go through these situations and you will fail and you will fuck them up, but eventually you will figure them out. And the more of these situations you resolve, the more you will know. The more you know about tanking, on how to deal with certain things. That's how I learned how to tank. I just kept fucking shit up until I was like, oh shit, if I do that, it's gonna work. And that's how I learned how to tank. I just fucked shit up. Now I was talking about two things that discourage people from tanking or getting into tanking. The first one was responsibility, and the second one is usually the very people who complain about the lack of tanks. The community. Harassing new tanks in dungeons gets you nowhere. Those people might eventually go, you know what? That's not worth my time. I'm going to play a DPS. I don't have to take this. And for people who say, well, just grow a pair and start tanking. You are playing a video game. You are trying to be a tank. A role that has a lot of responsibility. And you are trying to learn it. And people are harassing you because you are tanking your way. And you are trying to figure shit out instead of tanking their way. You're either going too slow or too fast. You're pulling too much or you're not pulling enough. You're moving the bus over there and they want him over here. It's stupid. It's like sitting in a room for a day without food and you're really hungry, and then someone brings you a meal and you're like, oh, this meal is shit, and then you continue to complain about how hungry you are. It's the same thing. I see it every day. There is a new dude in a dungeon, and he's obviously new. He has really bad gear, and he's just trying to get into tanking. And there are DPS like, oh, you should pull more, and you're a moron, and get the fuck out of my dungeon. You're not helping anyone. You're just discouraging people from fulfilling a role that you want to be fulfilled. You're hurting yourself by shitting on new tanks. Because that shit tank that's trying to figure stuff out might become a really awesome tank, and suddenly you know a really good tank who can tank things for you. It's simple as that. And how about instead of going, oh, you're a moron and you get the fuck out of my dungeon, you go, look, when you're tanking a lot of mobs, you're losing aggro, could you do something about that? How easy is that? I mean, it's a person on the other side as well, so why not talk to him like he is a person? I mean, come on. If you try to help him and you try to give him advice and he's being an asshole to you, then you can tell him to fuck off. But why be such an asshole towards someone who's just trying to learn stuff, probably? And that's it for this video. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.